Hi, this is Brad Gustafson. This webinar on virtual transaction coordinating for real estate agents will start momentarily. I'm going to share a screen with you right now for the next couple of minutes while we wait. Hello and welcome to the Virtual Transaction Coordinator System for Real Estate Agents webinar. My name is Brad Gustafson and I'm TRANS-TRAC Systems. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the Google document spreadsheet that I created to manage my real estate business. I was a real estate agent for 18 years, and after about 10 years, it was time to get organized. So I created a transaction tracking system that I call the TRANS-TRAC System. And I created this for real estate agents, and agents saw it and asked me if they could buy it. So I actually originally created it in a hard copy version, and now it's available online. And I'm going to show you how I created it online so you can do it yourself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the end result, what I have online, give you a brief overview so you understand how the system is put together. Then I'm going to show you step by step how to create your own system for free. During that process, I'm going to give you the overview of how it's created. Then I'm going to go back to my system and show you in details how to use it as a real estate agent and a real estate team, how to share the documents with each other, etc. So first off, let me show you, I'm going to do a share on this webinar, and I'm going to share with you the template or the demonstration template of the TRANS-TRAC system. Okay, there we go. You should see on there Google Docs spreadsheet at the top left. It says TRANS-TRAC template demo. And you'll notice my mouse is moving around and I've got it circling property address, which is this is the main sheet of the overall spreadsheet. So this main sheet has columns. You'll see they're lettered A, B, C, D, E, F, G going to the right. And they also have the headings for each column, which is going to be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are the steps that you'll take from the time you list a property until you close the transaction. So then down the left-hand side, row 2 is going to give you the first property that you're working on, whether it's a listing or a sale. You'll list all your properties, transactions down the left side with the address there. And I'm going to go down to the bottom and grab the scroll bar. And you can see as I scroll to the right, there are 31 steps from the time you list a property until you close the transaction. Okay. Then if you notice at the left-hand side, the addresses, again, start with 123 Main Street and then North Court, West Boulevard, Monterey, and West Street. So they're numbered 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now follow my mouse down to the bottom. The first sheet, transaction sheet, is the one we're looking at. Then number 2 is a separate sheet. And you notice there's numbers. I've got them numbered up to 8, and then letters beyond that. And if you go to the far right, it says scroll right. And as I can scroll through all the different sheets that are in this overall spreadsheet. So if I want to see number 2, that is actually correlated to, or is not same as row 2, 123 Main Street. So if you want to, let's say, I'm going to scroll to the right, make an appointment, seller's escrow appointment, step 23A and 23B, row or column AA or AB. You'll notice it says seller's escrow appointment. To do that, I'm going to have to call people. I'm going to have to call the seller. I'm going to have to call the escrow company to make that appointment. Where do I find those phone numbers? Well, for this property, it is on row number 2. I'm going to close that. And so that number 2 tab at the bottom, I click on that and it brings up all the contact details for the property. This, if you notice, it starts the seller, the address of the property, the seller, the seller's agent, the buyer, buyer's agent, loan officer. So column B, as I highlighted here, gives all the information for those particular items. But then you get more detailed information like the seller. Let's say, what company does the seller work for? They're retired. What's their phone number? They've got a home or a cell phone, their email address, their mailing address. Now, it's blacked out under escrow or loan number because the seller doesn't have that escrow or loan number, but it shows up down here under the escrow officer. You'll notice the escrow officer might be William Ward at 456 Title Company. There's his phone number with an extension, his email address, mailing address, and when you do open escrow, you'll get an escrow number that you can put in there. So all your information will be located within, all your contact information is located within the overall spreadsheet. And you'll notice each row on the main spreadsheet has a corresponding tab, which is going to be, I call it property detail sheet. And they're all numbered corresponding to the, as you can see, the numbers on the rows for each property. Then I'll scroll back to the beginning. Then you notice each of the steps is under a lettered column. So those columns correspond to the letters down at the bottom, starting with A. Column A is the property address. So if you hire an assistant, if you click on tab A, this gives you all the instructions on how to complete the property address field on the main spreadsheet. You know, if it's a listing agent, you find the address on the listing agreement. If it's a sale, you find the address on the MLS printout or the purchase agreement. So each of those steps, okay, little glitch right there. Each of those steps that are lettered have the instructions for the corresponding row for that step, instructions how to complete each of those steps. So that's basically the overview of the TRANS-TRAC spreadsheet. Now, you can build this yourself, and I'm going to show you. First thing, you have to have a Gmail email account. So once you have a Gmail email account, this webinar is not going to go into how to get that, but once you do, then you're going to have to activate and use your Google Drive. So once you got a Gmail account, this is my inbox right here. And you'll notice down the left-hand side, there's starred, chats, drafts, etc. There's all the different things. But we want to go to the top right, and you'll see it says Brad. And then there's a tic-tac-toe box, and it comes up Google Apps near the top right corner. When I click on Google Apps, you'll notice that it says Google Plus, Sheets, Documents, Slides, everything. There's a button that says Drive. So click on the icon for Drive, and that brings up your Google Drive. If you don't know it, you actually have, it's like a hard drive, but it's out on the internet. So if you want to store documents, you can store them within your Google Drive. You can create documents within the Google Drive. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how to create a spreadsheet, and then so you can create the system that I just showed you on your own. So the on the top left corner says TRANS-TRAC System, Drive, and then the red button says New. So you want to create a new document. So I click on that, and what type of document? Is it just going to be a regular document or a sheet? Now, this is a spreadsheet that we're using. It's similar to Microsoft Excel. So we want to create a new Google Sheet. So I click on that button, a tab opens up, and we've got a whole brand new spreadsheet. And you'll notice at the top left, it is an untitled spreadsheet. So first thing you want to do is probably give it a name. If I click on just the words untitled spreadsheet, this pops up, and I'll say webinar demo. I click OK, and you'll see now that this spreadsheet is named webinar demo. The next thing you want to do is create the headers. So the first column, what did we have on there? That was going to be address. So I simply type address. Okay. And then the next step is going to be client. And then the next step, let's say we're going through a listing, it's going to put a sign in the yard. And the next is going to be a lockbox that we need to put on the property, and then put it in the MLS. So you can create whatever steps you need for your transaction. And I'll just put in inspections, seller escrow appointment, buyer escrow appointment, and then cash your check once you get your transaction completed. So this is clearly an abbreviated version of the 31 steps that I've created, but you can create as many as you need. The first thing you want to do then is you'll notice that as I move the mouse to the top left corner, there's an FX, and then there's a little empty space there, and I move it down, and the cursor turns to a hand. I'm going to grab the gray bar and drop it down 1. What that does is it allows me, as you see here, I'm going to scroll through the sheet, the rows. As I move the rows up and I scroll, it keeps the first row in place so it doesn't move. Okay. The next thing is I'm going to go ahead and grab that same gray vertical and move it to the right side of A. And that way, if I move everything to the right, it keeps the address in place. If you want to keep the address and the client name in place, you move it over twice, and then you can scroll it, and those will always be there. Okay, so I'll move it back here. Now, if I go down to the bottom, you'll see it says sheet 1. We want to rename that to something, you know, I'm going to just say transaction. So I click on the arrow to the right of the word sheet 1 and then move up and select rename. And we're just going to rename it transactions. Okay, so there we go. Now you'll notice to the right of transactions, there are no other sheets. So we want to create sheets where, you know, for the instructions for each of the steps and also sheets for the property addresses. So I go to the far left corner at the bottom, there's a plus sign that says add sheet. If I click on add sheet, it gives me sheet 2, and I can just keep clicking. Sheet 3, click, sheet 4, 5, sheet 6, sheet 7, sheet 8. So again, you can continue to add as many sheets as you want, and then rename each one. So sheet 2, I'm going to rename just number 2, so I'll delete the word sheet, and then the same, rename sheet 3 to just 3, rename 4 to just the number 4, and then we'll go sheet 5. I'm going to change to the letter A, so I'll hit shift to get caps, and then I'm going to rename sheet 6 for B, rename C, and then sheet 8 will be D. Okay, so very simple. You created new sheets. Now in each of these, notice I'm on D now. I'm going to go back to number 2. First thing you want to do is go ahead and move this 2 steps over, and then move, I'm going to leave that where it is. And here I'll put in the seller, and then seller agent, or you could put listing agent, you know, buyer agent, loan officer, you know, escrow officer, etc. So you can put down here all the different categories or names or contacts that you want in a transaction. Now you'll notice I really should have had a row at the top because I want to put in here the company, cell phone number, and all the other additional information. So if I highlight row 1 and I go to file, and then I rename, move, import, revise, publish, print. I know I can edit. Okay, I'm gonna move row down. Okay, there's gonna be some place I can insert a row above. That's the place. There we go. So I inserted a row above, and then I can go ahead and drag this down. I'm going to put over here the company name, the phone number, the email, you know, escrow number, address, etc. Whatever information you would want for each of these contacts. So the seller name is going to go in this. Mr. Seller will go there. You know, seller agent, buyer is going to be, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. I'll say Ms. Buyer. You know, etc. Now, there's a few formatting items that you could take care of. If I highlight this row, I can let's say we're going to center everything. And then I'm going to make it all bold. If I want to italics it, I could also change the color to red, so, or whatever color you want. So you can edit and format everything in there. Now, one of the things you want to look at is Mr. Seller. I put that in there under the seller's name, or the, we want to have address. That's important. So let's say 123 Main Street. Now, what I can do is actually take 123 Main Street is in cell B. If you notice there, it's column B, row 8. So that cell itself is in B8. I can take that information, go over here, and say in row 2, where the address is, I can either type in that address, 123 Main Street, or create a formula. And I'll show you when you get to my spreadsheet the formulas that I've put in there. So when you enter it in one spot, it'll actually show up in another spot within the spreadsheet without you having to type it in twice. I'm not going to go into the details right now on that. But we can, again, go here and highlight or embolden that and make everything centered. So now if you want to do the center everything on the spreadsheet, if I select this button just below the FX, which is function, it highlights the whole spreadsheet. And if I then select center any field that I type into, you'll notice it'll be centered. So I can format anything there. Okay. So that's basically, then we want to go to, let's say row A is address. So A, I can do that same formula where I put in here address is the heading for this property, and I can tie a formula from here into the transactions board. So when I change this in whatever's in this field A1, it will appear on the transactions board in A1 as well. Okay, so we can actually, so again, you can change the headings and have them tied into the instructions, but we want to find out how do you create the instructions to get the address. So if I go to A, what I want to do is make it a larger field. Oh, I'll spread that out wide. Notice I can make this as wide as I want, and I just have the heading as address, and then I can type the instructions in here. You know, number 1, find listing agreement, and the address will be in first paragraph. You know, input this address into cell, you know, B4, whatever cell is in the spreadsheet that you want it to occur. Again, if you put it in cell 2, or the spreadsheet 2, you can put it in a particular cell and it appears on the transactions board itself. I'll show you how that is. And then you can just type in all the instructions that you need to complete any of those steps, B, C, D, E, F, and G. When I created the steps, I originally had them typed out in a 3-ring binder with tabs in the binder numbered 1 through 31. And it took about a year for me to write all those instructions. So anyway, if you want to go ahead and create your own spreadsheet, you can do that. Like I said, it took me a year to write all the instructions. You'll see in here, I've got instructions for all 31 steps. If you'd like, you can actually get a copy of my spreadsheet for $99 by visiting, if you see this link right here, udemy.com. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take me to the website. Actually, I'm going to pull it up right here. This is what it looks like when you are a guest considering the course. It's actually, the spreadsheet is downloaded from a course online at udemy.com. The price is $149 retail, but because you're watching this webinar, we have a special deal thanks to Wayne. And the discount code, you'll notice, it says just below take this course, there's a redeem a coupon. If you click on redeem a coupon and type in TRANSCO, that's TRANSCO, you'll go ahead and get a $50 discount, and you can take the course for $99. If you want more details than this webinar, you can hit this play button. There's a little video that's 4 minutes. Also, I'm going to scroll down and show you, it gives you the requirements for the course, what you're going to get out of it. And then this is the curriculum. There are 40 different videos. Lecture 1 is a welcome and overview, takes 3 minutes. Lecture 2 takes less than 3 minutes, shows you how to download and save a copy of the template that I showed you. Well, the template we're looking at in this webinar is actually a demonstration template. It's not the full version, and it has a lot of information already input into it that you don't need. You'll be able to download a full template with no information preloaded into the field, so you can start from scratch. In lecture 2, you'll get the link and the detailed instructions on how to download it to your computer and copy it and share it with your team. And then you'll get some 3 short lectures, 11 minutes to 5 minutes long, that give you overviews in more detail if this webinar is not enough. And then there's going to be additional lectures, 1 lecture for each of the 31 steps that shows you how to do those steps and more details, information on the whole process. If you want to preview any of those lectures, the blue buttons, it says preview. So you can go ahead and preview any of those, including lecture 6 there. Anyway, so the $99 if you use TRANSCO as a code gives you access to these 40 lectures anytime for the rest of your life. You also have the access to the template. You're able to download it onto your system. So this is a one-time fee. There's a lot of CRMs or client relation managers like Top Producer that charge you $35 to $100 per month. And they don't provide this simple of a system to use for tracking your transactions and managing tasks. And they cost, dozens and dozens more than this course costs you. And like I said, you can go back and use this course as a reference material, and whenever you hire a new assistant, you can have them go in and look at the videos, etc. After you register in the course, this is what it'll look like. It says welcome and overview. This is how it looks after you've registered and you've got access to each of the courses. So you can go in and select, let's say, lecture 11, and it'll pull up a video that shows, I'm going to pause it right now. You'll see me in the bottom right-hand corner, and I'll click through here, little arrows pointing where to go and how the system works, and each of the steps gives you the videos. So, and then on the right-hand side, it shows you where the information is located. Also, each of the steps, you can download a PDF that shows each of the steps written out, so you can print it out instead of having it just online. And then there's a discussion. If you have questions, you can type in a discussion question, and I'll be able to answer it through the course. And then you can take notes right here. So as you're taking the course, you can type in notes for your further reference, because again, you have lifetime access to the course and the videos and everything that's able to be downloaded. So again, let me go back to the actual demo template, and I'll go into more detail of how you'll use it as an agent or as a team. The first thing you want to do is share the document with your assistant. There's a saying, if you don't have an assistant, you are one. So if you, when you're out listing houses, showing houses, writing contracts, your hourly wage is going to be $50, $100, $200, $500 per hour. If you, instead of working at $50 to $500 per hour, you're doing a lot of these tasks like ordering a sign and picking up a lockbox. That kind of stuff can be done for minimum wage, $10, $15 an hour. So if you don't have an assistant, you are one, and if you're spending your time at doing $10 to $15 an hour work, you're not going to be making the fullest potential that you can make and focusing on what's important, which is taking listings and sales. So you want to have an assistant. If you don't have an assistant, you can use a system until you're able to manage that. The advantage of this system, if you're considering hiring an assistant, is that the instructions are built into the system on how to complete all these tasks. So it minimizes your time training. You don't have to take time away from listing and selling to train your assistant in. They just have to be able to read the instructions. But once you have an assistant, you want to share this with them. So if I click on the share button, I can type in an email address for my assistant. So assistant at gmail.com. Let's say that's my assistant's email address, and it says can edit. I can actually let my assistant only view the document, or I can let, if they can view it, that's all they can do is look at it. Or I can put in that they can comment. I'll explain commenting shortly, where they can look at it and comment on it, but can't make any changes. You want to let your assistant edit the document. So you put can edit and then click on this send button. I won't send that. I won't do that right now. I don't know who has that email address. So I'm going to hit cancel. But once you share the document with your assistant, they're able to access this at the same time that you're able to access it. So you'll see a little button that pops up here when another person is accessing the document, and you can actually, when I type in an address, it'll pop up on my screen as I'm looking at it, and at the same time it'll pop up on my assistant's screen. So let me first go through, let's say number 7 here. Notice it's blank. I'm going to go to number 7, and you'll see the function here says equals 7. So there's a, in quotes, that means fill in this field the whatever value is in sheet number 7, which is down here at the bottom, number 7, in cell B2. So if I go to cell B2, go to actually number 7, and notice it's B2 is this field that says address. So let's do 890 East Avenue. So what happens is since I've now entered 890 East Avenue in cell B2 of sheet number 7, that will appear on the transactions board. Note it says 890 East Avenue. I didn't have to type it in twice because the formula is there that to pull it in from that. Then the next thing you notice is it says client name, and there is no formula up here. The reason for that is that your client could either be a buyer or a seller. So if I'm at number 7 and the seller, you know, let's say it's a listing and the seller is Sammy Smith, but then when you sell it, the buyer is going to be Jane Doe. So the system doesn't know which of those fields you represent. So I represent Sammy Smith. This isn't the case where I have to type in that name there twice. But notice under list price, it says 7. There's a formula. So if I put in a list price of 159,000, and I notice I don't have to type in a dollar amount or commas or anything. I just tab out of it, and that automatically knows that this field is a monetary field. Then it goes back to the main sheet, and it shows 159,000. So that's auto-populated into the sheet. And then the sold price, again, there's a field there. I'm going to go to number 7. It's a hot market sales price. It actually sold for 165. There we go. And I go back to transactions, 165. Now you don't have to go back and forth every single time. But if you want to, like I said, when you build your own sheet, you can go ahead and fill in the formulas in each of these fields to auto-populate and reduce the amount of work that you have to put into it. Now, if I am at a listing appointment and I type in the address, this address will pop up on the screen for my assistant. And my assistant is going to say, oh, geez, I need to put a sign on the property. Notice install yard sign is over here, column I. So field I7 is empty. Now there's not a corresponding in sheet 7. There's nothing here for the sign. Okay, so there's no formula that will auto-populate it. So today, let's say I'm at a listing appointment. I put in the address. My assistant is on top of everything, and he or she knows to go ahead and order a sign as soon as he or she sees that address pop up. So today is going to be 8/13 of 2015. So that address pops up there. Now, if I'm looking at this on my cell phone, I can actually be at a listing appointment with my cell phone or my tablet or my iPad, and I can enter the address in, and then my assistant sees the address pop up, orders the sign, puts it, the date in there, and then I see that date appear on my phone in 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later. I can show the seller, look how fast I'm already working on getting your property sold. Now, putting a sign up, notice it's number I. If I go to I, there's this is going to be customizable. So either you're going to create your own system and write your instructions on how to do a sign, or you're going to take my system for $99 using the code TRANSCO, and you're going to customize it. Because what sign company do you use? Notice this is the demo version. I have steps 1, 5, and 6. So to get the complete instructions, you have to pay. But also, let's say it says find an order form for the sign company in or at, and you can put in there where, how do you order a sign? You can get into this field, type in a new instructions, put a phone number in for the sign company, etc. If your sign company has a online ordering system, you can actually create a link. If you notice, this says install a yard sign, and if I click on it, it'll show that there's actually I have it linked to this point here, a website. This is not a website for actually installing a yard sign. It's a website that you can order signs or name tags or badges, flyers, all kinds of different things, for your supply. They're a national company. It's estateprints.com. But you can go ahead and change that by just simply highlighting that field and going up here to where there's a link. See, it says insert link. If I click on that, you'll notice I've already got the website for Estate Prints in there. You can change that website to the order page for your sign company, so that you don't have to look for it somewhere else. Maybe if you do that. Now, maybe it's a home warranty company that you use, and they have a website that you can order from. So on the step for home warranty, you can install that link as well into the spreadsheet. That's something that would be customizable depending upon how you do business. Again, the home warranty is going to be later in the transaction process. So let's say right here, home warranty. It looks like notice I've got a link here, because if I click on this, the function field, it shows ZA2. So that means that the instructions, I actually put the link in tab Z. Notice at the bottom, home warranty. This is, if I put the link to the home warranty company in this field, A2, it will show up in both places. On sheet Z, which is the instructions for ordering the home warranty, or it will show up on the main transactions board right there. And what did I put a home warranty company in? Looks like American Home Shield. Get started, put a zip code so you can order from American Home Shield, or maybe some other company, whatever company you use for the home warranty. My instructions actually tell you not to use any particular home warranty. They say, ask the buyer to pick from at least 3 different to choose from, so that if something goes wrong, you're not being held liable to it. But that's going to be up to you whether you direct people's give recommendations or let your clients choose. So anyway, these are all things that you can do with using a GoogleDocs spreadsheet, that's available for you to build this transactions board, transaction system. or if you can do that for free with a Gmail account, or you can simply go to udemy.com/trans-trac-system, as you see here. And for $99 using TransCo as the discount coupon, you'll be able to get the system for $99 and not have to not have to build it yourself. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Send us, a question, do whatever you want, and we will be talking to you soon. Have a great day. This is Brad Gustafson signing off. If you want to call me, my number is area code 702-278-1435. And I'll say goodbye here. It's nice having you on the show. Have a great day and have a wonderful career.